Yere, look at my bass, Hiropuli. This is, it was a difficult day. 9/11. It did 24 years. And to think just yesterday, Charlie Kirk was. It's an emotional couple of days. Not that I've been bawling my eyes out, but such things that happen back to back, 9/11 was a big day. I remember it like it was yesterday. I think most people who truly paid attention to the day, the people who were impacted by it, they don't know. They don't forget the day. I have friends in England, friends in Scotland, friends in Australia, who all remember the day as well. They had moments of solidarity when the news struck in their areas. My friend in England and my friend in Australia was saying that if they were driving somewhere, and the friend in England was driving somewhere, and when it hit the radio, like everyone pulled over onto the side of the highway and mourned with us. Like that's such solidarity. For those who weren't from the area, and this is something I keep highlighting, not to make this political, but I don't know if y'all remember when the converter boxes came out, and they were giving vouchers this way people could get free converter boxes for the TVs. And that was when we were going to the digital era of things. So if you were using an analog TV that used an antenna, you had to get a converter box and then plug your antenna into the converter box and then turn the analog into digital. And a big component to why that happened, why that change happened, was because of 9/11. Up until that point, everything we had was going through analog, antenna. And so anything, if you was screwing coaxial, anything that was coaxial was all analog. So you had air TV and you had cable, and they weren't digital. They were analog. The only networks that weren't were DirecTV and satellite, because they used digital, right? And so when that day happened, anyone who had cable, regular TV, our TV went down in the area. I think only CBS, which is Channel 2, and PBS, which was Channel 13, were up. And that's because they were being broadcast from the Empire State Building, not from the Twin Towers. And so we were getting a little bit of news from there. There was a little bit of coverage. But if you want to really see the news, if you want to see CNN, you had to go to a friend's house. So someone who had, at least that's what we did. Because we didn't even have cable. We had Air TV. And we had to go to a friend's house. My best friend, he had cable. He had to go to a friend's house to see anything because they had DirecTV or Dish Network or whatever. And CNN was covering all of it. They replayed the crashes over and over. They had pictures of people jumping. There was reports. I don't want to believe this. I know y'all don't, but for those of us that were there, we remember this. There were Muslim neighborhoods in Jersey City, in Paterson, New Jersey, and Passaic. Now, I can't speak for any other parts of Jersey or any parts of New York because I don't have any eyewitness or know anyone who had eyewitness of those areas. But you had Muslims in Jersey City who were chanting and cheering. And you had Indians, because, not to be funny, but Pakistani and Indian, a lot of them look very similar. And because of, ignorant people, Indians didn't want to be targeted for what happened. And so they were hanging American flags on their windows in hopes to not get a brick thrown through them, because there were Muslims that were chanting and cheering in the streets, watching the debris go up into the air. That was Jersey City, and then Passaic. And I have at least 2 eyewitnesses that saw it happen in Paterson, New Jersey as well. My grandfather, who was driving taxi service to the area, said he couldn't get through because of traffic, because they were in the streets chanting and cheering. And then My mother's friend she's from Paris and she witnessed the same thing. And where this gets political, unfortunately, is 2015 going to 2016. Trump decided he was going to run for president. And he went full tilt into it. Me at the time, I didn't really I wasn't really pro Trump. I wasn't against him. The concept of making America great again did not sound bad, but I was sort of seeing how a little bit how the left was seeing it, like you're a media personality, you're a real estate mogul, you're not a politician, maybe you should stay in your lane. Maybe I thought of it, but then I thought, but seeing the outrage made me step back, because I don't go with the trend just because the trend is saying to do something. I don't go with it. And what I realized more so than anything is not that I didn't like him. It was just noticing how, and it wasn't anything he was saying. Not that he was divisive, because people won't call the man divisive, and I didn't really hear what he was saying as being divisive, because what he was saying was what things we were saying as Americans for the past 20 years. Securing the border, building a wall, bringing jobs back from overseas. These have always been things, as far as I know, from my childhood growing up and hearing how people complained about work and whatnot. They wanted their jobs back. They were tired of jobs being sent overseas. They were tired of calling for a service, for a bank service, and then getting some gentleman in India. And it's not that we dislike Indians. It's that we're in America. We're doing business in America. We want customer service to be American, to understand what we're saying, So these were all sentiments. These were all common sentiments, common threads within the American working class, at least where I grew up. And suddenly, because Trump was saying these things, suddenly they were bad things. Suddenly it's a bad idea to get rid of illegal immigrants. Suddenly it's a bad idea to want to do better for our schools. Suddenly it's a bad idea to want to protect our borders and bring jobs back to America. Just because he was saying that. That's where the gaslighting began. Because they let y'all believe that just because he was saying that things must be bad things. And that's where I thought maybe he's probably not a good candidate. Not because he was saying anything bad, but because of how far they will go to stir the pot, and what long-term drama will be brought from it. He was trying to make things right, and people were adamant on working against him, fighting him, to the point where being patriotic somehow became a bad thing. It became extreme right-wing to be patriotic. I was left-leaning at the time. I was very patriotic, and I still am. But somehow it's suddenly a bad thing. And what stood out to me was, well, the man said something about being able to see bodies jumping from the towers, and that there were people chanting in the streets of Paris, New Jersey, in parts of New Jersey. There were Muslim communities, chanting and cheering. Now, whether he's seen the bodies jumping or not, these things happened. Whether he eyewitnessed the people in Patterson or just heard about it, these things happened. We know they happened because some of us witnessed it ourselves, and then CNN reported on those very things. CNN reported on the neighborhoods in Patterson cheering. CNN reported on the people who jumped from the towers. I've said this in several other videos, I'm sure, where there was at least 2 or 3 different photos of people. One was of a guy who was using his sports jacket to try to be a parachute. There was a couple who held each other's hands on the way down, and then there was a woman who, in a final act of modesty, held her dress down as she jumped, right? So even if he didn't see it with his own eyes, the CNN reaction wasn't that he's lying, that he didn't see it. The reaction, what they were saying, was that these things never happened. That he's lying about these things happening. These things never happened. No one was chanting and cheering in Jersey, and no one ever jumped. These things were untrue. And why this matters that much more is what I was saying in the very beginning. We didn't have TV. We didn't have cable. We didn't have air TV. Unless you had direct TV, you weren't seeing anything. Fox was gone. ABC was gone. MSNBC was gone. We didn't have these channels. It wasn't being aired out. It was all through analog. CNN was doing, your digital broadcasting, and they were you if you want to see it on DirecTV or Dish Network, and so they were the ones that had the majority of the images. They were the ones showing us these images as well, making sure we didn't forget these things happened. And then, just to make this guy look like a liar, just to make him look bad, they said they you know what I mean? They're saying suggesting these things. You took the pictures of it. You guys reported on it because he's saying these things happened. You're gonna say no, they didn't. No, they didn't. That's part of my head turning. There was a big old, I don't know if it was a bee. He went that way. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna see it in the video if he flew overhead. And that's where I thought to myself, wait a minute, they're lying about this day. And it wasn't, I didn't take offense because they're lying about Trump. I took offense because they were lying about the day. The day. This day. 9/11 wasn't a small day for us. Whether it was a planned thing, whether it was a terrorist attack, or whether the government was involved, those of us, your everyday citizens, your everyday people, your everyday Americans who live in the area, who are not government, we were truly affected by it. Our days had changed, our week had changed, the way we saw the world had changed, the way we saw America had changed, because it was at that point, my generation, I mean, you hear about Pearl Harbor, but until you see your own Pearl Harbor, it's not real enough for you. It's only a story, yeah? 9/11 was our Pearl Harbor. And Charlie Kirk was our MLK, whether y'all want to believe it or not. And what's sickening is that the same camp who would cheer for this man being put down would also be in the streets of New York City, outside NYU, chanting pro-Hamas, free Palestine, and glorifying Bin Laden for what he supposedly did. There was several videos of it. People walking the beat, with cameras to see these protests and question these people, and several women, whether it may be just to be clickbait, maybe just to be, a devil's advocate, whatever, saying they want to sleep with Bin Laden, they want to blow him because of what for that, like they want to praise him for that, like this is how far down that rabbit hole of gaslighting we've gone. Is that you've created? At once we were united. Now we are more divided than we've ever been. I think we are more divided now than we were back during the slavery times. I can't say that for certain because I wasn't there, but it does feel like we're on a tipping point, and it's not good. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to see no one else get killed. I don't want to see anyone else die. Just because you disagree with me, just because you're left wing, doesn't mean I want to go to war with you and have it and do all those things. And that's the thing I think. These are the messages, these are the things that are not being heard. We will defend ourselves because we're Americans, it's our constitutional right. But defend yourself, right? That means you don't throw the first punch. You only engage once engaged. I don't want Americans to be at each other, still in general. I don't have fears of heights. I don't have fears of like going on planes or roller coasters, and I don't necessarily fear death either. It's an inevitable, right? But if one thing I do fear is I wasn't really good at social studies as a kid, which is surprising because today as an adult I love history, but as a kid it wasn't really interesting. But one thing that stood out to me was that all these great empires that came up throughout history, they fell. They may still exist in today's society as countries now, Egypt, Greece, Italy, but they were empires that fell. And it's almost like from then on, I realized, America might be one of those empires. The way they spoke about, America as a country growing up, Where they discuss it in history books. They didn't leave out the slavery parts of it. They didn't leave out the ugly parts of history, American history, in our history books when we learned. But they still exalted us for, our accomplishments, the things that we did, the things that we gave to the world, the Industrial Revolution, all the engineering that was birthed from that. We made a huge impact on the world in this country, and that's something to praise. But in that, we're also a great empire, and as history shows, all great empires meet their end eventually. They may break off into something else, but ultimately, but anything that starts must stop. Not that I want America to stop. That's my point. Is my greatest fear to be the one to be alive during a time in which, because I always had a bad feeling since childhood that it was inevitable that eventually the day will come. I just don't want to be alive when it does. I don't want. Well, not that I want to die, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be around. I don't want to be present when that happens. Um, Not that I'm afraid to fight. It would break my heart to see my country go. And 9/11 was one of those blows. If we're going off the basis that it was a terrorist attack, that means someone was trying to take out this very empire, and that's what this day represents. Is someone who disliked our free speech, disliked the American way, disliked capitalism, disliked our ties to Israel, um, and disliked America. Bin Laden may have had his other reasons, or he could be been a CIA op. I don't know. I don't know the details. I'm not trying to get to the conspiracy of it. All I could go off of right now is sentiment, and it's a huge day. So I'm not from New York City. I was born and raised in Jersey City, New Jersey. Proud Jersey boy. Lots of history in that state. Their state in the Union. We were a state before New York was a state. But just because we're from Jersey doesn't mean we weren't affected. And Jersey City, people don't know. People from other parts of the country, people who aren't from the Jersey, New York area, even some Jersey people don't really know where Jersey City is and how close we were to New York. We're pretty much New York's little brother because we're right across the river. It's like a 5-minute train ride. It's really not far away. And so you could see New York City in your backdrop all the time. I moved, and where I moved to is I gotta get my bearings as to where north, south, east, and west are, because as a Jersey person, you never really had to ask that. All you had to do if you want to know where you were and if you were lost was find New York. If you could see New York's towers in the distance, that's east, and from there you know where north, south, and west are, right? Where I'm at now is so far from New York, I'm not seeing any towers. But NYC was always that backdrop, and in that backdrop was always the Twin Towers. And it's interesting, things that you took for granted as a kid, the sights that you saw and didn't even realize it was the last time you seen them. Like, for instance, I remember foggy days, like really foggy days, cloudy, rainy, muggy days when it's really ugly out and no one wants to be outside. As an adult, I could look back on those muggy days and find appreciation, if just for small moments like this, right? Because towers were tall. Towers were really tall. And I remember where I went to school, I went to PS 28, and in fifth grade we had annexed a different building. So our fifth grade classes had to go to a different building to go to class. So when it was lunchtime, we had to go to the main building for lunch. But at lunchtime and at the gym and all that, we went back to the annex. And on the base floor, walking to the annex, you could see the towers in the distance because we were walking east to where the annex was. And on a foggy day, you see the towers, but then halfway across, you see like a cloud of smoke, right? So it would just be like they just disappeared into the clouds. Like that's how the fog was. And then when we go upstairs, because we were on the top floor of the annex, I think it was like third or fourth floor. Either way, it was high enough that you could see New York City again. But instead of it being the bottom, it was the top, and you would see the smoke, and not the smoke, the clouds, the mist, fog, and then the top of the towers poking up out of them. So it was really cool how bottom floor you see the bottom of the towers and the mist, top floor you see the top of the towers and the mist. never realized. I mean, as a student, obviously me, I remember that because I held on to it and I thought, oh, that was cool, but I didn't think it was cool enough. It was just because I didn't know what was gonna happen. Because obviously they were still there. That was actually a year or two before they went down. You play in the park, and New York City was just in your skyline. Bauer Street Park, First Street Park. Um, Maybe not Lincoln. Lincoln's pretty far away. Well, not far, but the New York City skyline is kind of distant, and you're kind of downhill. But ultimately, in our parks, at least in the Heights, you could see the skyline in the distance. Persian Fields, yeah. It was just, it was part of America. It wasn't a Jersey city, but it was a city that was right there. It was the Big Brother city that was right there. It was always something to look at in the distance. And the tower was always a big feature. And the tower that they replaced it with, it's not as impressive. Oh, it may look shiny and nice and looks like any other metro tower or any other skyscraper, but the marvel and the feats that were at those twin towers is incredible. It's not been, that thing doesn't match it. It definitely does. It definitely doesn't match what those two towers look like. Seeing them every day, seeing that tower every day, it's not impressive. Seeing those two towers, thinking, wow, yeah. Our city was grayed out for days, for about a week, because of all the soot, all the debris that will come over and just come back down. The buildings will grayed out, the houses will grayed out. Everything looked grayer, cars, everything. And then you would see a car get a ticket because it was parked somewhere where it wasn't supposed to be parked, and then later on it got another ticket because it's still parked there. And then the next day it got a couple more tickets. You see, and like got a bunch of them. And by like the third day, eventually got a boot. And it wasn't just one; it was several. It was many of them. It was parking lots that had these as well. And it's because the parking authority, it didn't occur to them, these people aren't coming back. You know, I gotta wonder how the kids of those firefighters feel. Firefighters that lost their lives, that gave up their lives to the towers. Um, Kids of parents who went into those towers and never came back. How do they feel? In retrospect, to grow up losing their parents is something so tragic, and I don't know. Like, would they become patriotic? Would they become angry at America for letting this happen? Would they become angry at government for hearing about it beforehand and doing nothing to stop it? Because when Bush was notified, we have a video of it, and he didn't look very surprised. But I wonder how they feel, in today's society, to hear so many people praising it, to hear that there's left-leaning people, they don't have the sympathy. And you know what, on TV, your media personalities, they may cushion what they say, but when you look at the protests, the mobs, the groups of people, they don't share those sentiments. They are extremists. They paint them. I don't know if it's intentional, but they're extremists, and I wonder how children of those people, children of those firefighters feel when they see those extremists. When they see a girl praising Bin Laden for wanting to give him blowjobs for it, and where's the humanity to think, like, as that person, to not realize exactly what you're saying and the amount of people that you're insulting? Or maybe that's the point, to insult all those people. I don't see it as any sort of, I don't know. It's such a sad thing. It really is such a sad thing. I look back at the day every year and feel the same sentiment. And I will say one thing I'm happy about in my current situation is where I am now, I don't know if you could tell by the backdrop, but where I am now is not where I've been making, where I was when I was making my past videos. My living situation has changed, and where I was actually living with a left leaning person who, when the day came, and it was on the news, his ads was like, "We gotta see this again. We gotta hear this shit again. Like every year we gotta sit through this." And my thing was like, you could always change the channel. If you don't want to watch it, you could just change the channel and watch something else. You don't have to sit, watch it, and then keep poking it. And he would just laugh about it. He was not taking it serious. As people were praying, he's there laughing. His name is Ronald Oates. I'm calling his name out. I'm putting his name out there because I don't give a fuck. He's a despicable person. And he would sit there laughing about it. Instead of just changing the channel, complaining. Why they gotta go on? Oh, now they gotta do the quiet service. Like, you don't have to watch the quiet service, the moment of silence for these, because they do like different intervals where the first building was struck and do a moment of silence, and the second building was struck for a moment of silence. Like, you don't have to watch these. I don't know. I'm gonna go through it today. I'm already going through it today. Um, Hopefully, I'm not gonna let the day beat me down. I'm not gonna let it wear my mood out because I've been in good spirits since I've moved. Been in really good spirits, but today is this very somber day, and to have it follow up after Charlie Kirk's passing, it's a somber 2 days. I'm still bothered about Charlie Kirk's situation. I really am. Um, it's unbelievable. Like, I still have a difficult time believing that the man's gone. Like, it feels like a big joke. Like, this it's not, it didn't really happen. It feels like a joke, and he wasn't even the president. He wasn't even one more. It's they tried really hard to take care of him. I wonder, not to be funny, I wonder how the people of South Park feel. Guys who make South Park, because last month it was that, right? Last month they were trying to make fun of him in South Park. Now, I don't know South Park's angle. They seem to make fun of everyone, and Charlie Kirk's attitude is much like other people's attitude, like Snooki. If I made it to South Park, I must be someone, right? But it's at that level, at that point, that I wonder if he became a target, because instead of being bothered by it, like my roommate he never watched South Park ever. Like, that was he's not into that shit. He's not into cartoons. He's not into Family Guy. He's not into Simpsons. He's not into any of those things. All he watches is Tyler Perry shit. My uncle, however, does watch South Park. He watches a lot of South Park. That's one of his favorite shows. So he understands it better than anyone. And he understands, like, they make fun of everybody. Everyone gets it from South Park. But then the roommate didn't see it that way. He saw it as, oh, they're making fun of somebody that I don't like, so I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean? I wonder if there were people who were emboldened by that. Like, I wonder if that guy, if people like him expected Charlie Kirk to be upset, right? People like him expected he got what was coming to him. He's gonna be bothered by this one. The man wasn't. He took the Cartman photo, and he made it his photo on Twitter. X, whatever it is. He made it on YouTube. Like, he embraced it. He embraced the caricature. So obviously it wasn't bothering him. And I wonder if it bothered people that it didn't bother him. And so when they realized they couldn't get to him by making fun of him, I don't know why I didn't see this one coming, because when it happened to Trump, I saw it coming. Not because I was in on a conspiracy, because I'm not, but to me it was like, y'all doing all this just to take Trump out, just to make Trump look like a liar. At what point do you guys stop? Y'all go a far ways away out to make take someone down. Like, I was just having this conversation with someone yesterday about the Alex Jones thing. Not condoning what Alex Jones did, but $1 billion, and that person saying, yeah, it's worth, yeah, he should be fined $1 billion for that. Absolutely. Like, why a billion? He didn't make a billion off of it. He did not make a billion off of it. Like, that's insane. It's unfathomable that people have those extreme. So if you could do that to an Alex Jones, if you could make up lies about 9/11 to make Trump look bad, if you could go to those extremes, what was to stop y'all from taking a shot at him? The same thing with Charlie Kirk, because Charlie played a big role in why Trump got elected. And if y'all going this far to make fun of him, to make him stop, and he doesn't stop, y'all gotta make him stop. And that's how they did it, you know. So yeah, it's a somber 2 days. I was having a really good day yesterday. I plan on doing one of these videos for 9/11 anyways, because it's still a big day to me. But the Charlie Kirk thing really, like, it, because my mother texted me about it before anyone else did. Like, I wasn't even scrolling through YouTube at the point. I was doing applications for in the area I'm living, and I was locked in on that. And when I got the text, like, no way, and that put everything on pause. Like, holy shit, wait, what? I looked it up all over YouTube, and as I'm looking it up, she texted me, he passed. Like, this is wild. Literally the day before 9/11. Wild. I'm gonna cut this one short for now. I'm saying cut it short. I've been going on for a half hour now. But I guess I'm gonna eat. I do my workout and make turn my day into a happier day. Hopefully. The next video, hit it.